Hello everybody, thanks for taking the time to hop onto this little video here about some of the new features that we have in PROtrade. This is for version 4.5.0 of the software, and we hope you'll take a minute to watch just through this collection of features that are here. We are continuing to improve trade and add in more functionality than we've had before. So we hope you'll find these new features useful to you, to your workflows, and to your business approach. So here we are in PROtrade, a couple of smaller sort of peripheral features that we've added in here that will be useful to you would be in the help menu. We now have this check for updates feature. So if you're on a version of PROtrade and your license is active, just keep in mind that updates come for free. So this is no extra charge for you. Updates as we make them are available to you, and we encourage you to pull those in and make use of them, since they'll include all the latest feature updates, bug fixes, as well as even new features that we may have put in for you. So take advantage of that. If you click on the check for updates button, it will tell you whether or not you are up to date or if there is an additional version, and then you can click that link to download the latest and get moving with that. We've also added in the ability for you to give feedback right here in the software. So if you click on the Give Feedback button, there's a simple little form here. Main point is we just love to know what could be better about the software, or if it's always nice to hear what you'd find is working really well for you. It might also give us some hints from there of where we could go and improve even those features even more so. So love to give your feedback, receive your feedback, I should say. So please take advantage of those two features, the give feedback as well as the check for updates button. Both of those are new in this latest version that we're sending out. So then moving on to some other things that are new that maybe you've already noticed if you've updated to the latest version. And that is as you open the software, or you can also get to the same window by coming to File and New, we have this Start a Project screen. So in many ways, the functionality isn't underlying it isn't any different as far as how you start a project, but we've consolidated those functions into a simple user interface here. So it's just very straightforward of how to get a project started. There's a video here that you can click on to watch if you want just some particulars on how to get going, but it's very simple. You just come to the Start Project, come to the project name, we'll call this the Smith Home, and then we come to the save location. This is where the job will be saved. So similar to where you would have created your project folder before as you started a new project, this is where you're going to save your job file. So in this case, we have ours on the Documents folder and Pre-Built in Jobs. We have a folder there, and in that folder is where these new projects will be created. But you can have yours wherever you want, whether it's a network drive or on your desktop or something else that you've created. Whatever you save here then in the save location will be saved for the next time, so that you don't have to go and pick it every single time. From here, you could choose to start the project, or you could also choose to already add the page images in, the plan images. So that's what I'm going to do here. I'm going to click on the ... button. And I'm going to find on the desktop, here's the Smith Homes PDF. So here's the plans that were sent to me for this job. I'll click Open. And so then what it's going to do is it's going to, once I hit the Start Project button, it's going to go through and it's actually going to pull those pages and do that conversion already for me. So it's marching through that now. But basically, as that job then gets created, opened, and then saved, I will already have those page images in the pages list over here. Now, of course, you can always add additional pages using the Add Pages button up here, but just be aware that that's available. A small note on the conversion of pages. You will notice that there is a difference that we've put in place for how large those PNG files are that are converted from the PDF pages. Basically what it boils down to is that we'll be taking up less memory footprint, probably 40 to 50% difference. So pretty significant, especially if you have a lot of pages that you're converting. So we're happy to introduce that here also with this latest version. So we'll be taking up less data storage on your local machine. I'm going to come over here to this first page. I'm going to assign a scale to it just so we can play around a little bit. So to start with, we've made some changes for how generic items that you draw show up. So for example, I'm going to take this little segment line, and for many of you, you're probably used to just drawing it in and it comes in as pink. In this case, it's coming in as purple, and notice also it has a label. And that's because of some new functionalities that we've introduced over here on the database tab. If you're on the database tab up here on applications, now we've always had my applications down here where you could create your own custom items, but now we've exposed to you the ability for you to control how just those generic items that you draw come in. So there's colors, prefixes, suffixes, whether labels show or not. So all that is controlled from here, which is why at this point, when I drew this length line, I got a label on it because it's set that way over there, as well as I've got the purple color. Now, something else that we've introduced in this version, both for generic applications, as well as for any special applications that you may have created down here that are custom to your business or for your My Products, relates to colors. You'll notice here, instead of a specific color, we've got this little color wheel. If we click the Edit button, of course, we can still set an explicit color here if we want, and browse to more colors and get whatever you need. But now we have this new option here called the auto color assignment. The thought here is that instead of having to always pick the best colors and pick colors that are different from each other, so it's easier for you to tell them apart, if you don't care in particular which color comes up, you just want it to be a different color as you work through your job, then you can pick the auto color assignment for that particular product or application or generic item that's up here. So let me just show you how that works. I'm going to come up here to the Plan tab again. So we've drawn in one segment line item right here. So let's say I draw another one. And I say, well, this one actually is going to be my railing. And so I'll tile this as my railing in the product. And then when I do, it changes that color to be the green. So now I have the green and the purple, and they're defined differently. Let's say I draw another one. And again, it comes in as purple because it's at this point, they match each other. They're both lengths in both segments. But again, let's say that I changed the name on this one, and this is maybe my flashing. So I'll click off the side, and once again, I get a different color that gets assigned to it since it's part of that auto color collection. So that's the idea then behind the auto color, is that it's automatically changing those colors for you, so it's easier to distinguish which parts and pieces are going on. And of course, you can always manually change them as well if you wanted to come here and change the color, and you can set it there. So the way that you would make use of that is by setting the color here for any of these items or in your My Products to be the auto color assignment. Another change that you may have noticed as you started to work with this version is just to make things more clear when you're wanting to have the lines or an area be used differently. So for example, let's take an area. Let's say that I want to take the square footage of this area right here. And right now it's over here. It has 21 square feet. Let's say that I also wanted it to be I also want to capture the volume. So here you can see this is a 4-inch thick concrete slab. So previously there were some other more cryptic application names, some area coverage or ACV or different things like that were over here. So we've changed those to be more explicit or more obvious. So that would be like, in this case, a volume. So I'm going to set this to volume. And as soon as I do, now you can see over here it says volume there, but also I have the options now for the thickness. In this case, it defaults to 4 inches, which is handy since that's what we need. But maybe I'll change this even just for the example of it. I'll change it to 36 inches deep. So that's a pretty thick slab. But you can see over here now in the amount column that instead of getting square feet, we're getting cubic yards. Which moves us on to actually another feature, another improvement that we've made here. And you can see now, instead of it just being 2 yards, we actually are taking that now to 1 decimal place out. Just so that it's more clear, since a cubic yard is kind of a large value. So before we were just rounding it up to the next cubic yard. But now you are displaying for you how it's a little bit more granular, so you can see how much of a cubic yard is there. So in this case, it's 2.3. And not only does it show up here in the takeoff items list, but that also passes through to the report as well. So in this case, I have 2.3 cubic yards of volume, and I could choose to give that a product name here if I wanted to. Another change, and then bouncing back again to the idea of how those applications are labeled. So if I right click here, again, it's right set to length, and so we have the ability to change it to area or to volume. So before we had other things that were like LSF, lineal square footage, or LCY, things like that. but now you can just choose to set it to just a little bit more obvious statement of area or volume. Functionality should be the same, just labeled a little bit differently. We've small change that we made for length areas, where so before you could set the height here for this area. So if you want, this is going to get into length, and then you're setting a height to it to get a total square footage, like for a wall that might be sitting there. Previously, we were limited out at about 20 feet, but now based on user feedback, we've expanded that to be up to 60 feet high, and so the calculations will run for that as well. So you can expand that further if your business needs to take you that direction. Another convenience item we've put in here is as if there is a product that you're using on a regular basis in your jobs, rather than make you go over to the database tab and create that in the My Products area, which of course you can still do from here. But if you're just right here in the plan and you say, well, I want to create a new product, you can click here and come to Product and go to More Products. And then we've added this New button. So if you look through here and it's like, oh, my product that I want isn't available to me, I haven't created it yet, I need something different, and I know I'm going to use it more on future jobs, I'll click the New button, and that's going to pull up the Add Product window. So now I can create my special product, and I can add in dimensions if I want, attributes as well, waste factors to apply, so basically all the normal things. Click Save, and click OK, and so now that product actually has been created. It's over here in my database under my special product, so it's there for me, but I've been able to do it right here in the plan digitizer, so I didn't have to lose my flow as I kept going. So that's a new feature that we've put in there for that. I also want to remind you of the ability to draw with the keyboard. Now this was in the last version, but I know not everybody always has the opportunity to update, so I wanted to remind you again that those capabilities are there. And the way that you would use that to draw with the keyboard, and really the reason maybe most commonly that you would want to use this is just you're wanting to be a little bit more precise, or maybe you don't even have a plan and you're wanting to just get an exact measurements of something. So I'm going to click here to start my area that I'm drawing. Let's say I just want to draw a 10 square foot or a 15-foot big box, So I can click my starting point. On my keyboard, I'm going to hit the arrow key to the right. And now it brings up this option for me to define how far to go. In this case, I'll type in 15, hit enter, and I can hit the arrow key again. This time I hit the arrow key down, hit enter 15, and then hit the arrow key over to the left, enter 15, and now I've got my perfectly sized box. So this works for areas, it works for linear lines, as well as the segment lines. So lots of options there that how you can use this. Also remind you that you can add blank pages in. So if I come over to the Add Pages button, choose Add a Blank Page, I can pick the page size that I want. And so we've got this in here. So that can also be handy if you just have a simple project that you're just wanting to kind of scope out real quick, map out, and just get some square footage values or cubic yards. You can just draw on a blank sheet of paper. Finally, as far as some features to review, of course, there's a few other miscellaneous items that we've fixed here and to make things better for you as well. But one more thing just wanted to touch on relates to framing layouts. So if you want to be able to deliver a layout to the field, I'm going to come here and choose the Capture Framing Layout button. And I'm going to say I want to capture these areas here, this little image in this corner. So I'll capture that, and I'll call this my area layout, and it's just going to create this framing layout sheet, or this layout sheet that can be sent to the field. You can have your logo here and other titles, and so lots of opportunities again there that you can use this. And then of course we've got the material list with the associated cross-reference by colors and applications and products. However, so all that actually is not anything new. It's been there. In case you just hadn't seen it before, just be aware that it's there. But we've also expanded some of the opportunities here where you can actually mark up this sheet. So maybe we wanted to use the cloud tool and call some extra attention to the fact that this was a slab, so we could draw that around there. Latest in this version, you can actually copy and paste these annotations now as well. So I can highlight it, Control-C, Control-V, and move that around and use that. Same with a highlighter tool, as well as the comments and the call-out lines. So those are available now on the framing layouts, as well as the ability to copy and paste those around from sheet to sheet, or even on the same page. So there's the quick summary of things that are available in this more recent version that we've sent out for PROtrade. Again, that's 4.5.0. So encourage you to update to that as soon as possible. And don't forget again about the give feedback button that's available in that version. You can click on that and send us your thoughts on what could be improved to make it better, as well as what's working well for you. So thanks again, and we'll talk to you more later.